theme Mobilizing Private Sector Financing for Climate and Green Growth, the African Development Bank Group's annual meeting has today come to a close.
We have come to the end of yet another successful annual meetings.
This year's event has allowed the bank's Board of Governors, African leaders and development partners to explore practical ways of mobilizing private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa. The board has also approved management's request to leverage the equity of the African Development Fund to mobilize more resources on the capital markets. When fully implemented, the bank group could unlock up to $27 billion to help low-income and fragile states through the group's concessional lending arm, the African Development Fund. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi opened the 5-day meetings, calling for creative solutions for the complex challenges facing countries, especially those in Africa. Other dignitaries included the Zimbabwean president, Tanzania's vice president, and more.
Dear guests of Egypt, at the conclusion, I would like to thank you all, to welcome you and hope for you the best in this version of the annual meetings of the AfDB.
Along with its statutory meetings, the event also featured a presidential dialogue and 3 thematic knowledge sessions. The highlights included the launch of the bank group's flagship 2023 African Economic Outlook report. The 2023 Outlook anticipates Africa's GDP growth to reach 4.3% in 2024, which is up from 3.8% in 2022.
The African Development Bank puts great priority on the development of knowledge products to inform policymakers on the performance of the continent, to look at current and emerging global economic, financial, and geopolitical challenges and risks, and how to tackle important issues such as debt, public financial management for sustainable development.
There was also a unique celebration of Africa Day commemorating the 60th anniversary of the African Union.
This is the 60th year of the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, the OAU, right? And as some of you will know, on that first day of the 25th of May 1963, one of the resolutions that was adopted was a resolution for the establishment of an African Development Bank. So that resolution is also 60 years. And then the next year in 1964, the African Development Bank was established. So it's significant for us. And one of the highlights of the meeting is a more celebrated Africa Day.
Our future is a bright future. As Africans, our future will be brighter as we invest in our young people. They not only will make us proud today, they will make us proud tomorrow.
We have one Africa, and the Africa we want is the one Africa that is integrating, that is inclusively progressing.
President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, said the 2023 annual meetings achieved great success. He stated that the collective presence of thousands, including leaders, presidents, governors, and more, showed the strong support the African Development Bank has in its drive to accelerate Africa's development.
The chairman of the African Union Commission was here. The president of Comoros and the chairman of the African Union was here. The president of Zimbabwe was here. The vice president of Tanzania, the prime minister of Somalia, the prime minister of Rwanda, the prime minister of the Central African Republic, who is actually still with us today, the prime minister of Burundi, all were here. And of course, they were joined by the prime minister of the Arab Republic of Egypt. Their collective presence shows the strong support the African Development Bank has in its drive to accelerate Africa's development. I had so many things in these meetings. I took a lot of copious notes, as I always do. because the points you raise, the issues you raise, the guidance that you give are also crucially important for us to note them, remember them, reflect on them, and adjust based on them. And we saw that today as you, our governors, in your thought meeting, spoke and discussed the communique for the bank for your meetings, where you expressed strong support as our Board of Governors for the African Development Fund to leverage its equity and mobilize more resources to the capital markets. Now, this was a long journey, long discussions, deliberations, questions, issues raised as they should be raised. But we've come to a point where we all collectively agree we need more resources for the low-income countries and that we should leverage the equity that the bank has. And that our governors said that we should pursue this. And I want to say that when the agreements are fully reached and implemented, this could unlock several billions and billions of dollars. The low-income countries and fragile countries in Africa, that could potentially be about $4 billion per replenishment cycle. That could even grow to $27 billion, maybe even more, depending on when we launch it and how much equity we build in it over time. But what's important is that we came here together.
The closing ceremony saw the handing over of the chairmanship of the boards of governors to Kenya's finance minister, as Kenya will host the 2024 annual meetings. In a declaration issued at the end of the meetings, the bank's governors stressed the need for substantial financial resources to support climate adaptation in Africa.
First and foremost, allow me to express our deepest and sincere appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Hassan Abdallah, Acting Governor of the Central Bank of the Arab Republic of Egypt, AfDB Governor for Egypt, and the Chairperson of the Boards of Governors, for his sterling work during his tenure as Chairperson of the Boards of Governors.
I would like to extend my gratitude and congratulate the Arab Republic of Egypt for hosting the African Development Bank's 2023 annual meetings in this beautiful and unique resort city of Sharm El Sheikh. I do also thank the Egyptian people for their great hospitality and warm reception over the past few days. In fact, we feel overfed by the Egyptian hospitality. I also humbly accept the role of the chairperson of the boards of governors of the African Development Bank and the African Development Fund, and it allows me actually to extend my appreciation to Honorable Hassan Abdallah, Governor of Egypt, for his efforts as chairperson of the boards of governors for the last 1 year. And I'm delighted to have a strong foundation to build on coming from him as I succeed him in this noble responsibility.
Despite the increasingly challenging external environment, including geopolitical risks, climate change, insecurity, high inflationary trends, as well as increased costs of servicing debts, the bank group has continued to strongly respond to these countless challenges facing regional member countries. It has done this through counter-cyclical financing and knowledge products for strengthening macroeconomic and fiscal stability, debt sustainability, and structural transformation of the economies, while building resilience in fragile and transitional states. On behalf of Egypt, we would like to extend our congratulations to Kenya for being selected as the host country for the 2024 African Development Bank annual meetings scheduled to take place in Nairobi from 27th to 31st of May 2024. We are confident that Kenya, with its strategic location, vibrant economy, and dynamic society, would provide an outstanding setting for the 2024 annual meetings. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had a pleasant stay and fruitful week in Sharm El Sheikh, and I look forward to see you again in the 2024 AfDB annual meetings in Nairobi, the green city under the sun.
This year's annual meetings has indeed been a successful one. Next year, the African Development Bank Group takes its meetings to Kenya from the 27th of May till the 31st. Until then, you can find out what's going on with the bank via details on the screen below.
Welcome to Kenya, the great home of many fasts in the world. Sitting comfortably in a small corner of the eastern side of the African continent, Kenya is the economic powerhouse and the hub of East and Central Africa, and steadily realizing its full potential as a global player on the world stage. Strategically located as a gateway to Africa, with strong growth prospects supported by an emerging urban middle class and an increasing appetite for high-level goods and services, Kenya boasts of a large pool of young, talented, highly educated, skilled and sought-after workforce in Africa. As an influential member of various trade blocs including East African Community EAC, COMESA and Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Kenya as a channel in providing seamless access to almost 560 million people across the region and potentially millions more through further integration into bigger economic communities across the continent and the world. It is the region's logistical hub, playing a big role as a transshipment hub for goods moving to landlocked countries in East and Central Africa through the expanded Mombasa and Lamu port. Kenya is also renowned for its coffee, flowers, fruits, vegetables, nuts and many more quality products, and continue to leave millions of international consumers in awe of the treasures of her fertile soil. Within Kenya's highly diversified economy lies countless opportunities for locals and international investment. There are brand new construction projects popping up all over the country, including city highways like Nairobi Expressway, expansion of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and the Standard Gauge Railway, among others. This exponential infrastructure development, coupled with political and economic stability locally and regionally, highlight enormous growth potential for several sectors including mining, agriculture, manufacturing, energy and the blue economy. Kenya has come a long way in its journey to become Africa's Silicon Savannah, from being just another outpost for multiple multinational companies to spawning revolutionary apps, softwares, and digital innovations that are the envy of even the most advanced economies in the world. And when the local and foreigners are not busy bolstering Kenya's economy, they're enjoying her bountiful natural beauty and vibrant city life. World-famous sites and attractions are dotted all over the country, on pristine beaches, wild plains, beautiful lakes, and towering mountain peaks. Not only is Kenya the home of some of the world's most beautiful sights and wildlife, it has also given rise to a number of prominent global figures who have shot to global stardom in international football, athletics, entertainment, and even world politics. So, as Africa and the world head into an uncertain yet promising future, Kenya continues to rise and sets the pace as a pioneer across the board with the big, bold, and brave steps. This is Kenya.
Kenya is open for business. And beyond what we are doing with governments, we have made a deliberate decision in health, in housing, in technology, in cybersecurity, better and in a way that is collaborative. We have a program that we have laid out. I know many of you have worked with Kenya before. We now have a program as a new administration, and we are looking forward to partnership with those of you who have worked with us in Kenya before and those of you who want to work with us in Kenya now. We are consolidating the market around the EAC with about 300 million people, around the tripartite free trade area and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area with a population of 1.2 billion people and a GDP of $3.5 trillion. As you think about investing in Kenya, you should have the horizon of beyond Kenya.